Okay, I'm starting part 2 now of my commentary on Rich Merrit's first draft of his short story, Devil Visions. After eating dinner, it was time for some more partying. The guys opened up a bottle of Jim Beam and started to unwind. It was the night they were all supposed to This was the night they were all supposed to toast each other's future plans. They didn't know it, but all three had started to turn into men. That's a bit awkward. Started to turn into men. They were on the verge of adulthood, on the approaching manhood, something like that. I find that something awkward about had started to turn into men, because if you turn into a pig, if you turn into a ghost, turn into has that kind of sense, and it's confusing because they are males to begin with, but they were adolescents and now they're approaching adulthood. They had spoken to the girls just over the hill at the next lot that morning. Kevin had invited them up for a nightcap. "Hey boys, it was a real effort to find your darn site. I'm Amy. This is my friend Ginger." We have to capitalize Ginger. All the guys greeted the girls at once. Jack stood up and said, "Ladies, we are 3 icons available for your enjoyment tonight." Icon has one meaning to the general public. There's a computer meaning of icon, and then there's a Greek Orthodox meaning, which is only, for Russians and Greeks who think about that. How about we're 3 studs available for your enjoyment tonight? Or we're 3 movie stars, or movie idols. Those are my suggestions. Both girls laughed. Amy was a bit shy, but her friend wasn't. Boys, you are boys, comma, you are just boys. Give us some beer. Yeah, so I would say boys, comma, you are just boys. Give us some beer or we're leaving. As the night wore on, they all seemed to gel. I want to check the spelling of gel and the usage of it, but that's good. Everything seems to gel. The girls mentioned how they were working at Trump Tower. That guy is such a perv. Trump. He invited me to go for a jacuzzi weekend in Rhode Island with him. Of course, we know that's a booty call. I'm adding that. Amy said I would have gone, but he invited all the other assistants too. They all laughed. The party of 5 spent the night joking and listening to music. The guys were deep asleep at about 2 a.m. I'd add 2 a.m. when it happened again. Ugh! It was Kevin who heard it the first time. "Guys, what the hell is that?" The others woke up quickly, and then they all heard the sound of a girl screaming. It was close. It was close hyphen by. It was nearby, and terrifying. It was nearby and terrifying. It was quite near and terrifying. Oh my God, that could be Amy or Ginger, Jack said. They could be in some real trouble. We gotta do something. Francis started to put on his shoes. Let's all get up and get moving. Whatever happened, it didn't sound too good. They got dressed and decided to walk down to the site where Amy and Ginger were camping. "Just as I feared, they're gone," said Francis. All 3 quickly decided that it would be best to stay together. When they got near the lake, they spied the form of a body near the water. This is moving pretty good. I like this. It was Ginger. Francis bent down to check her. "She's dead, guys. No pulse at all." The 3 of them stood over her. "How did this happen?" Jack finally blurted out, I don't see any wounds or anything. We better go call the cops." Francis quickly replied, "I don't think that's a good idea." "Why, Jack?" Jack looked worried. The last time that Ginger was seen alive was with us guys. I wouldn't be surprised if the police were to think of us all as suspects. After all, we were drinking and Amy left for the night. Kevin and Jack considered Francis' point. Before he could reply, all three were startled by a sound. It wasn't a growl this time, it was a laugh, but not a human one. Then, after hearing the laugh again and more mocking, all three were pushed to the ground by an unseen force. "You're mine now, mine forever. Now and forever mine. You're mine now, now and forever mine." This is good, good. That was the last the boys heard before losing consciousness. The first to awaken was Jack. He was stiff and surprised at this time of day. When I first saw this sentence, I looked at the bottom of the story first, and it said he was stiff. I took that entirely differently. How about he felt stiff? He felt stiff. He felt sore and stiff, period. He was surprised at the time of day. Just after 10, the sun was already high in the sky. He roused the other two guys. "I don't know why, but I've got the worst. I have the worst hangover I've ever had." I would say I got the worst hangover I've ever had. Kevin said. Jack and Francis felt the same way. They all looked over at Ginger's body. It was dormant and lifeless. Here, let's see. It was dormant and as lifeless as their moods. I made a little change here. "No one has been out here yet, guys," Kevin said, breaking the silence. "Let's throw her in the lake. I don't want anyone knowing we found her. It could ruin my scholarship." It could ruin my scholarship. I took it in a different way, like, scholarship as doing research. But what he means is his college grant. It could ruin my college grant. Because when you say ruin my scholarship, it means, it might mean that you're working on something scholarly, and that's your scholarship, and you're being distracted. Anyway, Francis protested, but then Jack interrupted him. "I agree, it's best that we don't get caught up in any investigation." 5 minutes later, the body of Ginger was at the bottom of the lake. You gotta add at of the lake, and the guys were walking back to their campground. Jack and Kevin engaged only in small talk. I changed this a little. Period. Francis just listened. Period. Kevin changed the topic. "Do you still have your problems, Jack?" "Sure do," Jack quietly replied. Each and every time I make love or try to, I have visions of Ginger's legs sinking underwater. Kevin nodded. "Yes, so do I. I've become celibate. I simply couldn't take it anymore. We were forever changed that weekend. Always changed." Oh, that additional phrase, "always changed," is awkward. I have to think about that. Francis came back and sat down. "Guys, it's worse for me being a priest. And every time I look at a woman who is even slightly attractive, I have vividly lustful thoughts. It's gotten so bad for the last years that I've said the Mass the old-fashioned way with my back to the congregation. We've the devil to thank." And I put a comment here. Excellent. I like that touch of he's no longer facing the Mass of the congregation. The high school reunion ended, and the guys walked out together. Unlike the other married couples, you see, there's a weakness there. To say unlike the other married couples, it hints that they're married couples. So, unlike the others who were married couples, they were destined to always live alone, captives of visions that plague. I like that ending. So now, this is a good way, to read a short story. It's a lot faster than typing. You can get a feeling of how it sounds when someone reads it aloud. I think probably you should listen to this a few times and then, try to rewrite things to smooth it up to smooth up the language, the grammar, the punctuation. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. This is part 2 final of the first draft comments edit of Devil's Visions by my friend Rich Merrit.